Want to go up to New York City. He may not physically be in New York City this morning, but that's his that's his domain. That's where he is. His name is Errol Lewis. You must have seen him. The good-looking fellow with no hair. Yeah, okay. The one who seems to be on top of all the issues. He is my guest this morning. I'm going to have a quick session with him. Errol Lewis, good morning to you, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Rennie. How are you?
I am doing pretty good, and I know that you took of your time to be with us this morning, and all of that I appreciate it. But I can think of no better person who is on top of what is going on in the White House in New York City than you, Errol Lewis. Here is my problem with this. Welcome, first of all.
You're welcome.
I did mention that your Trinidad roots. You want to repeat that Trinidad connection? Just our listeners are very clear, because I did put it out there, you know.
My grandparents, my father's mother, my father's father, both from Belmont.
Yes, so that's a good-looking gentleman you see with the glasses on CNN all the time, because you may not have access to the New York channel, but you see him on CNN, so you know who I'm talking about. All right, let us talk about the President of the United States. Talking about the President of the United States, because two reasons. One, I want to see the link with the region in a second, but I want to stay, first of all, understanding, because the world towards the United States, rather. United Nations, no. Look towards the United States as a model to follow. So a lot of countries use that as an example. They look at it as the first world generally with everything, and then politically they go like, as America do, let us look, whether it be America or England is one of the two. But let us stay with the United States right now. The unpredictability, the instability, what seems to be nothing short of madness that is going on inside of there, where folks are either on the apprentice, fired, or they decide they're leaving. It raises the question to me, and I'm sure to a number of our listeners this morning, what is really going on there? Have you seen this? And you're a historian, I know that. Can you think of any other occasion where we have seen something like this happen?
Well, yes, but not in a government context. So we are all familiar with businesses, and the Trump organization is one such business, where the person in charge, the CEO, the owner, can do whatever he or she wants. Kind of randomly fire people here, set different teams against each other, violate every principle of sound management that any business school would teach you, and there's nobody to stop them. So in Trump's case, you have right off the bat, I mean, I can't, I'm trying to imagine your station, Rennie, if not everyone reported to the general manager. If the press person, if the publicity person could report to somebody else, and the subscription manager can report to somebody else, and the talent is reporting to somebody else, well, you've created a formula for chaos, and that is what we have in the White House.
Yep.
We have a new communications director who said on day one he reports directly to the president, not the chief of staff. We have a chief of staff who is supposed to be in charge of everything, but apparently is not. And so, yeah, when it works in business, we say the businessman must be a genius to have everyone fighting constantly for his favor. When you see it and how it plays out in government, it's not so great.
It's a very frightening situation. What's the name of the gentleman? What? I'm sorry?
Scaramucci.
Oh, it's Scar. I thought it was Scare. Okay. I am sorry. I digress. so he walks in there, and the head of the Republican National Committee, Mr. Priebus, is out. However, I was taken aback by Priebus saying that it doesn't matter. I'm going to do whatever the president wants. The man just got you out of a job. Get a backbone. Anyway, let me not say that. I do.
No, but you know what? You raise a good point. I mean, this is an important lesson. When I get an opportunity, I'm going to tell it to my 12-year-old son, which is that no matter how much you abase yourself before a bully, no matter how you grovel, no matter how you beg and plead and swear that you love that person,
he's going to beat you up.
Yeah, and and your dignity is not the only thing that will be gone.
Well,
you'll be gone too.
A lot of manhood is on the line here. Just to finish that, I mean, you think that we talk about Priebus as one person. I am very going like, what in God's name is going through Mr. Sessions' mind? The man has been pillared in every area. That's the Attorney General of the United States. He's been pillared in every direction, and yet he is still there. Just on principle, I'm out of here.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think you have to go all the way back to John Adams. I think you have to go back to the 18th century, apparently, to find a president of the United States who actually fired one of his cabinet members.
Mm-hmm.
And we seem once again to be making history with President Trump.
I tell you, when I come back up to New York, we'll have fun on that. Let me bring it down to the region. Let me bring it down to the region here. The Caribbean must be, and that's the reason why I said we get together this morning, because with all the madness going on there, with his appearance at the G20, with his general feeling about the ban on Muslims, which obtains mainly to the Muslim countries, he has not expanded it that we know. But however, the tenor has made it harder for people to come to the United States, and Caribbean people being no different. Is the region to expect any region-friendly assistance coming out of the United States? I mean, whether it be for drug interdiction, whether it be for helping countries settle the deportees that they are sending back to the region left, right, and center, whether it is to continue funding FPAs that may give people some knowledge of the importance of abortion. I mean, is the region to expect anything that is region-friendly from Mr. Trump?
I would not expect it. I would not be making any plans for any kind of beneficial assistance for the following reason, which is that he made no promises, and he made a lot of other promises that suggest a hostility when it comes to immigration that would never help the Caribbean. He has not talked about investment. He has not talked about a big picture of, say, investment in the Caribbean in order to lift general regional prosperity and help everyone, including the United States. He has talked about just the opposite, about building a wall, about keeping people out, about renegotiating NAFTA and other trade deals, because they don't advantage the United States enough, in his opinion, which I think anyone familiar with the Caribbean Basin Initiative would probably be a little startled to hear. But he has decided that NAFTA has not gone far enough, and that he wants to renegotiate it. So, no, I wouldn't be planning much of anything. On the other hand, there will possibly be great opportunities elsewhere as other large developed economies, G20 economies, realize that they have an opportunity to swoop in and take all of the engineers and all of the mathematicians and the doctors and all of the other people from these Muslim countries that the president seems to want to keep out.
The voice you're hearing is that of Errol Lewis of CNN, and also the organization you're with in New York. You still with New York? What are you?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm being tongue-in-cheek. I saw them giving you credit for being aligned with somebody else the other day, and that bothered me. I want to go to that point that you were talking about there with the president of the United States, and as it relates to a lot of Trinidadians, most Trinidadians, when they say going to America, they say I'm going to New York. So a lot of our people end up in New York. Here is my concern: President Trump on Friday said in upstate New York that police no longer have to be gentle when they hold suspects. He said, do not be gentle with taking them and just toss them inside the paddy wagon. And police brutality is an issue for all people in New York. But I'm concerned about my West Indian folks who are coming there, my Trinbagonian who are coming there. And now if they are arrested or suspected of something and arrested, they can expect police brutality, because it sounded to me like the president was in fact giving carte blanche, go ahead and be rough with the suspects.
Well, that's right. And he said this out in Suffolk County, out in Long Island. And to their credit, the Suffolk County police issued not one but two statements via Twitter saying that they do not condone in any way, shape, or form police brutality, that they do not rough up suspects who have been arrested and only accused but not convicted of any crime, and that this didn't reflect their views. The International Association of Chiefs of Police made a statement. The American Civil Liberties Union, multiple places jumped out and made clear, at least verbally, that this does not reflect their official point of view. So once again, you have a president who, playing to the crowd, says something outrageous, and then the institutions of the country swing into motion, and people start to speak out, the press starts to report it, and we get an adjustment of the crazy thing that he said somewhat spontaneously in front of a crowd. I mean, I think the thing that concerned me the most, Rennie, was that when he said that, that you shouldn't be too nice to detainees. You know, a big roar from the crowd, a crowd of cops who were there. Now this is disturbing, to say the least.
Is it really, Errol? I mean, I looked at them at the back of him. Have you realized how representative the police behind him were? I mean, they represented a wonderful white America. That's a whole different revolution. Errol Lewis is my guest this morning. Errol, I just want to go to one final part of this before reminding our listeners that the Minister of Social Development and Family Services will be joining me, as well as we going to Guyana. They had 16 people shot in another prison riot yesterday. We're going there in a minute, but let me conclude with Errol on this. And this is a concern for me, because the mayor of New York City, who we both will have been working to have him elected, thank God he has said that we are going to remain a sanctuary city. President Trump is now looking to federally definance these so-called sanctuary cities. Folks going to America, I'm talking about people from the region who may go there, may overstay their time there. In overstaying their time there, here's what you end up with. You end up with you have to live in the place, and you're given a license because you're in a sanctuary city. No police is going to pick you up. Now, if the federal funds are no longer going to so-called sanctuary cities, how much danger you see that is for Caribbean folk?
Well, I think there's a concern. I don't think it's as bad as people would suggest. I mean, the administration wants to be able to say that they are cracking down on sanctuary cities, but the reality is, legally speaking, and this has gone all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, they cannot arbitrarily start pulling national federal money from cities just because they don't like the sanctuary city policy. They can restrict or withdraw or put limits on certain kinds of funding if it's directly related to that question of sanctuary city policies. But it's very hard to find something like that. You know, I mean, the reality is law enforcement, in almost all of its manifestations, is a local responsibility, and immigration, in almost all of its manifestations, is a federal responsibility. So unless there's cooperation between the two, the locality can say, you know what, you're free to come in and search and try and find and deport anybody you want. We're not going to give you any help whatsoever. Well, we're not giving you information. We're not giving you manpower. We're not giving you anything.
You know, you surprised me a lot because you said that it may not be legal. Has that stopped this president? I mean, whether it's legal or not is not the point. He goes with immigration. He says, I'm going to give you a new bill. He gives a new bill to turn that over. He gives another bill to turn that over. I mean, the latest, and what he did recently is going to be turned over again. This whole issue of transgender serving in the army. I mean, it's just going to be overturned. He does not care about your laws. That's what he's saying.
Well, you know, I think what happens is, because he does not understand how government works, it's actually not that easy for him or his cabinet, and the turmoil in the cabinet makes it hard for his cabinet members to do it, to actually figure out how to implement some of these legally questionable policies. So if he knew more about government, he might be dangerous. But in this case, I don't think he has the slightest idea how a dollar gets from Washington down to the street in New York. And until he figures that out, it'll be hard to restrict it.
What's really scary about it is that he said, I will try the Washington way first, and then I will go my way. Well, he is finished with his 6 months, and he has decided to do it his way. In comes Mr. Scamarudi. I know, I bastardized that for a purpose.
Well, here's some great gossip before we say goodbye, is Scaramucci apparently last Monday, his wife gave birth to their child. He did not see the child for 4 days. He stayed on the campaign trail. He did all of the crazy things that we've all reported on. He sent her a text saying he'll be praying for the child. And she has, of course, filed for divorce.
You see, you are part of the fake media. You work for CNN. That's the point. You are part of the fake media. What bad news are you spreading here this morning, Mr. Lewis? Errol Lewis, my brother, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me this morning. I'll talk to you later. Say hello to your wonderful wife. You have a good day, and good day to your family, too. Okay, brother?
All right.
Thank you so much.